This Mother's Day, surprise Mom with flowers and a piece of jewelry from S.E. Needham Jewelers. Choose from a large selection of birthstone, silver, and diamond jewelry. Or you may find something special for her in our family jewelry collections, or an S.E. Needham gift card may be timely. With any purchase of $49 or more, you'll receive a spring bouquet of flowers. Come shop today, open 10 to 7. For the people and occasions that matter most, S.E. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block, at the sign of the clock.
Here's Chad Norton, the lawn doctor, with a tip for your lawn.
Spring didn't happen as early as we anticipated. Winter returned, and it's time to help wake up your grass with a light raking. Then to keep it green and weed-free this summer, call the Lawn Doctor. We can put you on a summer program to make your lawn the greenest and healthiest it can be all season long.
Go to LawnDoctorCashValley.com or just give them a call at 753-LAWN. That's 753-LAWN.
It's time for the Garden Guide with your host, Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden.
New research suggests that people are more likely to eat vegetables if they have a tempting name.
What would life be without homegrown tomatoes? Only two things that money can't buy, and that's true love and homegrown tomatoes.
From gardening to landscaping.
Today we are going to try and create garden eyebrows. Kind of like the flowers are sprouting directly from your hair. That makes sense.
Go! Phone lines are open at 753-KVNU or 800-369-KVNU.
Kind of like eating vegetables.
It's the Garden Guide, now on KVNU 610 AM and 102 FM.
Good morning and welcome to the Garden Guide. This is Mark Anderson with Anderson Seed and Garden, and it actually even looks and feels like spring outside. It's amazing that we actually have the sun shining and some nice warm weather, and the snow's almost completely gone throughout the valley, and I think there's a few pockets here and there still, but that means it's time for planting. So this week I got out and I tilled my garden, and this weekend the onions are going in, and the potatoes are going in, and the carrots are going in, and the chard and the beets, and a lot of the stuff that we normally plant in March and April, and finally got that tilled. So garden, it took that long for it to dry out, and today Jason's my special guest today.
Excited to be here. It's been about a year. I missed you.
I know. I guess you're not the special guest. You're the production person today.
Trying my
Correct.
best.
Yeah. Well, you do a great job, and it's wonderful to have you here. So thanks for being here on the show. And you always have awesome questions too. So
I do sort of abuse being here in the studio with you sometimes when I get a chance to run the show with you, because I've always got a list of questions. But I haven't tilled my garden yet.
You haven't?
It's still too wet.
Oh, see, mine it was so close a couple times, and then this week it finally dried out, and I just got after it. And since I had some leaves on the garden that I didn't get tilled in last fall because the snow hit too early, and then it didn't go away. Usually we get that first snowstorm in November, and then it melts, and then we have a little bit of time, and then we get the one that sticks. This year that didn't happen.
That's right.
Yeah, it didn't happen. And so I was like, oh, I'll be able to get out there and till. It'll be fine. And then the snow never left. And so matted leaves out there. So I had to go over that section multiple times. So I started tilling at 7:30, and it was 9 o'clock by the time I was done. It was I was ready to pull my headlamp out.
I saw someone out in a field last night doing that.
Oh,
on a tractor.
Yeah. Oh,
with the lights.
Sometimes you just gotta keep going.
Trying to beat the rain.
If you want to get done, if you want to get done. So and we had a little rain last night, so that was great. Hey, a lot of great things happening at Anderson Seed and Garden. Our compost tea program is in full swing. So if you want to get compost tea, now is the time to come in and get your 2.5 gallon or your 1 gallon jugs that are free refills all summer long. So it's a great program. You buy the container, and then every time you come in the store, we'll just do a free refill if you bring your containers with you. If you don't bring your containers with you, it's kind of hard to do free refills. It's hard to carry that compost tea with you.
Sure. A lot of cups, right?
Yes, a lot of cups. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. But we also have trees and shrubs are coming in like crazy. So I've got a full selection of flowering trees, shade trees, fruit trees. I still have a bunch that are bare root, but today we're going to try and pot up as many as we possibly can. They are, to be honest, they're just in the way right now. Since we couldn't sell a lot of trees in March and April, the bare root are all starting to leaf out, and which they should. They should be leafing out now, and we've got to get those potted up. So if you want to get bare root fruit trees, you better come see us today, because probably by Monday they're going to be all potted up. And they're going to be non-established at that point. They just wouldn't have been in the pot long enough, so you almost have to treat them like a bare root. But we've got to pot them up and get those roots into containers, or else the trees are going to start to get damaged. So we've got to get the bare root trees potted up. But lots of shrubs showing up. We're again a little behind on bringing shrubs in because they just haven't been ready yet. So Oregon and Washington have had really cold, wet, nasty spring, just like we have, and so a lot of our shrubs and trees are coming in, and they're about 4 weeks behind schedule. And so if there's certain things that you're looking for, don't worry, they will be coming. And we've got lots of stuff coming, but some of it just I haven't dared bring it in because it's like a stick in a pot. It's like nobody likes a stick in a pot that doesn't have any leaves on it. You can't see what it's going to look like, and so we've just kind of been waiting for a lot of the nurseries in the Northwest to catch up. So that's kind of how it works. Mother's Day weekend is next weekend, so don't forget about those moms out there that are so valuable in our lives. And we've got some great things at Anderson's happening. We'll have hanging baskets like crazy for next week. I've got some gorgeous ones right now, but we'll have even more next week. And I just got my first batch of roses in, so we've got some gorgeous roses, lots of perennials, lots of flowers. Greenhouses are getting filled up. I've got some great outdoor decor like arbors, and I've got some beautiful chimes. So a lot of great gift ideas. But Mother's Day is next weekend, so please don't forget about Mother's Day weekend. And then we're still doing our scavenger hunt. So if you haven't been in to do the scavenger hunt, this is family-friendly opportunity to bring your kids in, and it takes about half an hour to do the scavenger hunt, and we've got clues lined up all over the store, so you get to search for the clues, and every clue has a QR code. You scan it, and you can do this all right on your phone. It makes it really, really easy to find the clues and to go to the next one. And if you finish the scavenger hunt, you will be entered into our drawing. We're giving away an awesome gift basket, and this is a family gift basket. So there's like stuff in the basket for the kids, there's stuff in there for the teens, there's stuff in there for the parents, and it's like a $350 value. So lots of great things in our family fun planting gift package from Anderson's. And then all the kids that finish the scavenger hunt, we give them like little package of seeds and stuff to take home and plant as well too. So that'll be pretty cool.
That is very cool.
Not too cool. Not too bad. That's what I mean. So scavenger hunt, Mother's Day. Plants are coming in like crazy. I just got some new asparagus, some new strawberry plants, bare root, and the raspberries are finally here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, finally got the raspberries in. So raspberries, we've been waiting since there was so much snow in Paradise we couldn't get the raspberries. But now we finally have raspberries. So we've got Heritage, Polana, Canby, and Joan J. raspberries. We've had those in stock. We just got a new batch in on Thursday. So hopefully they will last through the weekend, but we may run out today. There's a lot of people that still want to do raspberries. Yeah, still want to do raspberries. But phone lines are open, 753-5868, 753-KVNU, or 1-800-369-5868. We would love to have you call and join us here on the Garden Guide. We're just going to be talking about whatever's going on outside in the yard and garden right now. So got my garden tilled this week, and so what I did, since I had lots of leaves and stuff left over from last year that didn't get incorporated in, I put on an application of Humate. So the humic, I applied that to the entire garden, put some nitrogen on to help break all that organic matter down. So I did some ammonium sulfate, broadcast that over the entire garden, and then just tilled that all in, and it's like perfect. It's ready to plant. I've got my onion plants soaking at home right now that are ready to transplant out. So I take my onion plants and I soak them in a little bit of Kanga roots, a little bit of root stimulator for 24 to 48 hours before I plant them, and it plumps up the roots so they just like absorb up the moisture, and then the plants are just like perfect, ready to plant right out into the garden. So
that is very cool.
Yeah, it works really well. And I do my other bare root stuff the same way. So if I'm doing bare root strawberries, I'll hydrate those for 24 hours before I plant them. Same thing with the raspberries. I'll do that with the trees as well too, or currants or grapes. It's nice to kind of hydrate those plants up so that they're ready to go. So
I'm excited. This is this year I'll get to test based on some recommendations from you. I finally got hairy vetch to grow through the winter in my garden.
Awesome.
So I'm going to till that in a while.
Super.
And I'm excited. We do have Marilyn on the line
very good.
with a
very good.
question.
Good morning, Marilyn. How are you this morning?
Good. I bought some rose bushes to plant, and I planted 2 of them yesterday, 2 out of 3, and they were good. 3 feet tall. They're beautiful. Had little buds on them.
Awesome.
And this morning I walked out there, and the deer had eaten all the buds and nipped down all until it's about only 1.5 feet tall anymore. How can I keep the deer? I've had rose bushes for 50 years. I've never had deer eat rose bushes before, but they have nibbled my 2 brand new rose bushes right down. What can I put on them to keep them from eating them?
The deer just absolutely love roses, and we have to fence the roses at my mom's house to keep the deer from getting in there and nibbling on those. And usually it takes a few days for them to figure out that they're there. I'm surprised that they got them the first night. Oop.
Sorry about that.
We good?
Can you hear Marilyn? Are you there?
Yes.
Okay.
I am.
We lost her.
I'm here.
Okay, I can hear you. There you go.
Okay.
All right. We had
technical issues.
Slight
here.
technical difficulties.
Our board
there.
just restarted.
Okay.
Interesting.
Sorry about that.
So, Marilyn, deer stopper would work great. The deer stopper is a spray you can put on there that will keep them from nibbling on your roses. Unfortunately, you've lost a few buds, but pruning the roses is essential to get more flowers to come. And so we're sad that you've lost some flowers, but there will be more coming. So that's the best part about roses. The more you prune them,
Deer stopper. Then that's what I need to get.
And then it is it's rain safe, and so you can spray it, and if it rains a few hours after you've sprayed, it will dry on there and it will stay there for probably about 3 to 4 weeks. And so I would treat the roses, and with the deer stopper it's nice to treat the area around the plants you're trying to protect as well too, so that the whole area kind of smells and tastes funny to the deer, and so they'll just leave and go somewhere else. And so try and treat a lot of the plants around the roses as well too, because that will help deter the deer from just coming into that area in the first place. And then just plan on doing it. The roses grow pretty quickly, so as you get a bunch of new growth on there, make sure and retreat them. You may have to treat just the new growth once a week or something just to stay on top of it. But the older growth that's not increasing in size, the 3 to 4 weeks will work for that quite nicely.
That's great. That's good to know. Thank you so much. I was so sad. I wanted to go out and see how beautiful they looked this morning, and they're nibbled.
And they nibbled.
Down.
I know, they're so rude. They just live in my yard, so we have to take drastic measures and just fence everything at my house. So. Well,
thank you for your help. I will come down and get some deer stopper. I didn't know about it, but now I do. I've never bothered them before, but they must be really, really hungry.
Really hungry, yep. Thanks, Marilyn. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Sorry about that. I think I've sorted out the technical issue here.
That's good.
Scared me.
Yeah.
I thought we'd lost everything.
It does happen from time to time, but usually not too much. So phone lines are open. I know we've had a couple people try and call in, but since we were working with the board,
I was a little distracted there for a second.
Jason was not able to pick up. Yeah, so 753-5868, 753-KVNU, or 1-800-369-5868. You are welcome to call in with questions or or comments. Got garden tilled, so tonight I'm hoping to plant my onions. I've got potatoes that I want to plant as well too, and with the potatoes I kind of prep them a little bit like the onions as well too. So the onions I soak overnight, but the potatoes I like to cut the day before I plant them so that the cuts will heal over a little bit, so they get that kind of white film on the potatoes. That actually protects the cut of the potatoes so that diseases can't get into the potatoes. And so it's kind of critical that you cut a day or so in advance of planting so the potatoes can heal over. And then we treat them with a little fungicide like sulfur, like dusting sulfur, or with Captan. And then when I dig my trench, I put sulfur down in the bottom of the trench to help prevent with scab. So potato scab gets into the potatoes through those fresh cuts, and it's in the soil already. And so it's always good to put some sulfur down in there because that keeps the scab from spreading if you've got some in your soil. A lot of times it comes in with composted steer manure. If you're putting steer manure into your garden, a lot of times the scab will come with it, and then it's just kind of there in your soil all the time. So sulfur down the bottom, a little bit of complete disease control or fungicide 5 on it to help with the scab and other diseases like early and late blight on the potatoes, and a little slow release fertilizer in there, tomato and vegetable food, and cover them up. And away we go. I got some great new potatoes this year. So Huckleberry Gold's been one of my favorites. We got some Purple Viking to try this year. And the Purple Viking, Jason, it has a purple skin, and then you cut it open, and the flesh is almost white on the inside. Yeah, so it's a white flesh. It's a really moist potato. So it's not like a russet potato is really dry. When you pop it open, it's kind of dry. This is a really moist potato, and it's very, very sweet. So it's a really nice potato to try if you want to give a new potato a shot. So Purple Viking. Yep. Huckleberry Gold has that purple skin on it, but it's golden on the inside, and that's a really nice potato too. And then we always plant Norlands and Pontiacs and Yukons as well too.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it's fun to try different ones because potatoes definitely have different flavors. So it's kind of like apples. It's like you go to the store, you buy the variety of the apple that you really like because Honeycrisp tastes different from John of Gold, which tastes different from Fuji. They have different flavors, even though they're all apples. Sure. So the potatoes are kind of similar that way. So you've got some different skin colors, you've got some different textures, you've got some different sweetness, and some different like flavors as well on the potatoes. I mean, when it comes to carrots, there's a lot of great carrots out there, but they kind of all taste like carrots. You don't have a lot of different variety between those. But potatoes and apples, really some unique flavors. So it's fun to try different stuff.
Very cool.
It's not too bad. Phone lines are open, 753-5868, 753-KVNU, and we've got a couple callers again.
We do. Up first is Chris.
All right. Good morning, Chris. Welcome to the Garden Guide.
Oh, thank you. Hey, I just love your show.
Thank you so much.
Keep it up.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so last week you said something about you put something in your lawn to counter the salt damage.
Yes.
I didn't quite get it.
Yes. So this year we're going to see a lot of salt damage, especially on park strips and close to the sidewalk and close to the driveway because they had to salt the road so much this year because it just never stopped snowing. I don't know how else to say it. It just never stopped snowing, so they kept salting the roads. So gypsum will help counteract the sodium that will build up in your soil. And the sodium can do a lot of damage to plants. So it can really yellow evergreens that are very resilient. It can kill grass. It can kill other plants, bulbs. It'll really stunt the growth on your plants if not really take them out. And so gypsum will tie up the sodium and make it so it won't damage your plants. So gypsum has calcium in there, and the calcium will bind to the sodium, and it keeps your plants from picking it up. So usually I've got some 20-pound bags. I think the 20-pound bags will cover a couple hundred square feet. So you want to put it on fairly heavy and then just kind of rake it in lightly, and that will help counteract your salt damage.
Oh, great. I have another question. So my forsythia was right where the snowplow pushed all the snow.
Yes.
It probably has salt in it. And the bottom of the forsythia bloomed, but the top part didn't. Is that from salt?
It could be just a little bit of winter damage too, and since we had so much snow on top of it, it probably protected it down below, but it might have gotten cold up on top, and then it froze, especially in February. We had those really, really sub-zero temperatures for about 2 weeks that were just not very nice. It froze one of my pipes at the store right through a brick wall.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was, unfortunately, the pipe is like really close to the wall, but it froze a pipe. It was really cold for about 2 or 3 weeks, and it really damaged a lot of roses and a lot of shrubs. And forsythia are usually very, very hardy. I would just trim it back, just trim the parts off that have not leafed out and have not bloomed, trim it down to the parts that are, and a little bit of fertilizer to encourage some new growth, and they'll just come right back again.
Okay, great.
All right.
Thank you.
You are so welcome, Chris. You have a wonderful weekend.
We lost Andy. Andy, if you're out there, 753-5868. I was just about to go to him, and I saw him disappear. He must have had to hang out.
It happens sometimes if you're driving through the canyon listening, and you get lost. Or if your control board just like decides to shut down and restart.
Scary moment.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't think I've ever had that happen on the show before.
Our engineers are explaining it to me right now through text.
There you go.
So
there you go. All right,
we should be good.
Maybe that's Andy calling back there. So
good.
Call in. We've got phone lines open, 753-5868, 753-KVNU, and we'd love to have you join us here on the Garden Guide. So I got garden tilled, going to do some planting. I looked this morning as I was coming down to work. We were there early this morning organizing plants because it's been so busy at Anderson's. We haven't been able to organize the plants that came in on Thursday, so we had to do that this morning before the radio show, before we open up. And I noticed that there's a lot of weeds coming up in my patio and starting to show up on my hillside where I've got some nice trees planted, but the slope is so steep you can't really plant anything else up there. And I'm thinking I gotta spray my patio. It's time to hit the patio. Kills-All Extended is what I use. So I do the patio. I do some of the park. Like we've got one little parking area where we used to have a wave runner, and we get weeds and grasses and stuff in there. And it's a little bit of gravel, a little bit of soil. I really don't want anything coming up in there. And so the Kills-All Extended, I can spray in the patio. I can spray in the RV parking area. I can spray the slope of the hillside. I can use it in my dad's orchard, and it will kill the grasses and kill the weeds and then prevent new stuff from coming up for basically the next 4 to 6 months. And that gets us into September. And at that point, I don't worry about it. Maybe I'll go spot treat a little bit more, but it'll get goat's heads. It will get grasses. It'll get morning glory. It'll get thistles, mallow, clover. Just takes out just about everything, and then the pre-emergent that's mixed in there lasts for 4 to 6 months, and it kills the seeds as they come up. So if you've got goat heads popping up around your patio or in your RV parking area, this is great because it'll kill the ones that are coming up before they bloom. Spray them right now before they bloom. So once they bloom, they set seeds, and those things are evil.
Never go away.
No, and it will kill the seeds as they germinate as well too, so you don't have them coming back all summer long. So makes a huge, huge difference. So Kills-All Extended for your patio, for your RV parking area, around trees and shrubs. As long as you don't spray it on the plants that you want to keep, it won't damage those. It just kills the plants that you spray it on. Has to go in through the green leafy part of the plant. But then the pre-emergent won't bother the tree that's right next to it, or bother the shrub that's right there, or even the flowers that are close by. As long as you just get it into the soil, it will kill the seeds as they're coming up. So it saves so much work. It saves so much time. So it's the way to go. We got another caller.
That's right.
Phone lines are open, 753-5868, 753-KVNU, and we've got a little bit of time before the bottom of the hour, so we can get this caller and maybe one more. We'll see what happens. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
This is Nancy.
All right. Good morning, Nancy. Welcome to the Garden Guide.
Hey, good morning. I should have listened to the caller that just got finished.
Isn't that something that we always say? We say, I should have listened.
I turned the radio off, and then I listened, and I have the same questions. Those crazy little flowers, weeds, they get that little yellow flower, and then they get those burrs all over it?
Yes.
Yes, so and just general weeds, so it sounds like I should use the Kills-All Extended as well.
The burr buttercup is one of the most evil weeds that's out there because they come up very quickly. They bloom in like no time at all. And as soon as they bloom, they start setting those seeds that have, half-inch spines on them that will go through a flip-flop, and they just get stuck in your shoes. They're just a major nuisance. And they seem to just spread all over the place. Then you've got puncture vine that's more of a viney one as well too, that spreads out, and it does the same thing. And when I can't think 25 years ago of anybody ever having those, and then they showed up, I think is over in like Mendon, Wellsville area first is where I started hearing people, about their kids driving on or riding their bike on the trails and coming back and having 2 flat tires because the puncture vine poked holes in all their tires about 25 years ago. And it's like spread through the whole valley now. It's like everybody's got it. And so Kills All Extended will do a great job. So it'll kill the ones that are coming up, and it will kill the seeds as they germinate. If they're in a lawn situation, the Kills All will kill your grass as well too. So if you've got them creeping into your lawn, then you can use something like the weed-free zone and kill those without killing the lawn. They're actually really pretty easy to kill with the broadleaf weed killer. So 2,4-D, Trimec, weed-free zone, any of those will take them out. In the garden, I like to use Decimate. The Decimate biodegrades really, really quickly, and so I could spray today with the Decimate, kill a bunch of weeds, and by Monday I could plant right back in that area where I sprayed because it's gone in 24 to 48 hours, and it works on broadleaf as well as grasses. So the Decimate is excellent to get into flower beds and into garden areas where you want to plant fairly quickly. And on a 70-degree day, you'll see those weeds kind of starting to curl up within just a few hours even, and then you can plant 24 to 48 hours later, just like right back in that area right where you sprayed. And it works kind of like Roundup, so it has to go in through the green leafy part of the plant. It won't go in through the bark. It doesn't affect the surrounding plants through the root system since it breaks down so quickly. It's a really great option for kind of clearing an area out where you want to plant grass or plant your vegetables, your flowers, and it's a good way to get a fresh, clean start. So.
Okay, I've also kind of then, this brings another question of wondering about filling an area for like a year or 6 months or so.
Right.
How does that work?
Depends on how long you want it to last. We've talked about Cazeron before on the show for killing grasses and weeds in raspberries. It's great for raspberries and roses and grapes, cane plants, but it also won't bother shrubs or trees. And so it won't hurt anything woody. If it's got bark on it, it won't bother it. It's great for controlling weeds in an area like, say, an RV spot where you park, but you've got trees that are nearby. If you put a sterilant down, the trees have roots that go over into that area. They could pick up the sterilant, and it could damage your trees that are nearby, even in the area where you don't treat it, because the root system encroaches into that area. So the Cazeron would not do that. It'll kill grasses, it'll kill weeds, it'll kill green stemmed plants, vegetables, flowers, bulbs. It'll damage those, but it won't bother anything woody. So that's a great option if you have plants, desirable plants nearby that you don't want to damage. And sterilant like the Kills All 365 or Pramitol could do some damage to surrounding plants as well too. So between the Kills All Extended and the Cazeron, you've got some really great options that will kind of stay right where you put them. They'll last for 6 months and just prevent new stuff from coming up.
Okay.
All right.
I appreciate your help so much. Thank you.
You are so welcome, Nancy. Thanks for calling this morning. You have a wonderful weekend.
You too.
All right, we'll see you. All right, we are at the bottom of the hour. Jason, you want to take that break while we got a chance?
We'll get it out of the way.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Phone lines are open. We'd love to have some more calls. If you've got questions about your garden or what to do, or you're just so far behind you don't know where to start, we can help. We can help. 753-5868, 753-KVNU, or 1-800-369-5868. I'm Mark Anderson with Anderson Seed and Garden. Jason, my trusty companion here, running the board that has mysteriously decided to shut down on us today.
We've got it back. We're good.
All right. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Thanks for listening.
I'm Bill Walter, KVNU News. The state of Utah has launched a new website to provide its residents with comprehensive resources on flooding. The website, floods.utah.gov, features the FEMA flood risk map and information from various state departments, making it a valuable resource for residents. It also offers a daily situation report update every morning and links to county and city emergency management websites for local information. Utah State University Extension has also created a website, flood.usu.edu, with flood information and resources, including tips on how to prepare for, handle, and recover from floods, flood maps, and information on sandbagging, flood insurance, emergency preparation, food safety, sanitizing, and more. Newly released body camera video shows the man accused of fatally stabbing 4 University of Idaho students being pulled over for allegedly running a red light about a month before the killings. The Idaho Statesman reported Thursday that the video shows Washington State University campus police stopping Brian Kohberger on October 14, 2022, in Pullman. During the video, Officer Isabel Luangus parks behind Kohberger's 2015 Hyundai Elantra in a parking lot. She tells him he ran a red light and asks for Kohberger's license, vehicle registration, and proof of insurance. Kohberger says he was stuck in the middle of the intersection. He was let off without a warning. Showers in the forecast over the weekend, high temperatures in the mid to upper 50s. For the latest news, visit CacheValleyDaily.com.
From ABC Sports, I'm Mark Remillard. Multiple Game 3s last night in the NBA playoffs. We start in Philly, where after Joel Embiid received his first career MVP trophy, the Sixers would look to take a 2-1 series lead over the Celtics. Boston, however, would spoil the party.
Jason Tatum, left side. Steps back away from Harris. His three in the air is good.
98.5, the Sports Hub on the call. Jason Tatum had 27 points. The Celtics take a 2-1 series lead over the Sixers with a 114-102 win. Later in Phoenix, the Nuggets would head into the desert hoping to take a 3-0 series lead over the Suns, but the duo of Kevin Durant and Devin Booker had other plans.
Here's the drive by Booker on the right side into the lane. Stops, looks, leans, shoots, scores.
Arizona Sports 98.7 FM on the call. Devin Booker scored 47 points. KD had 39 as the Suns fight off a 3-0 deficit. 121-114 the final. This is ABC's.
Hi, this is Gordon Deal. Monday on This Morning, America's First News. The brinksmanship on Capitol Hill over the debt ceiling could be solved by the stock market. Hear how lawmakers could have their hands forced. Also, President Biden doesn't have too many options for taming rising gas prices this summer. We'll peer into the bag of tricks and how brides are slashing the price of a wedding gown these days. Monday on This Morning, America's First News.
Monday morning from 4 to 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM. Your station for news, weather, and sports.
It's the Garden Guide on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
All right, welcome back to the Garden Guide. We were just answering another phone call. So call in with those questions or comments, 753-5868-753-KVNU. We'd love to have you on the show with us here. And Jason, you'd mentioned that Andy had called and had a question, but he hasn't called back before. But you said that he was wondering how the Easy Wet worked. Is that right?
Yeah, the question was they'd used Aqueduct and Easy Wet were the two names that he mentioned.
Yes.
On some hard-packed clay soil, and he said it worked really well, but he just wanted to know how it worked.
How it works, yes. That is a great question.
That is kind of amazing.
They are
right?
both soil penetrants, and we use them to help the soil absorb and retain moisture better. And it's great for areas that, say, aren't draining. So say you've got some hard compacted clay, and when you water it, it just puddles there and turns into a lake, and it doesn't want to penetrate in. But it also helps with soils that are really porous, where you water it, and the water just goes right through the bottom. And so what it does is soil and water actually are opposites. And so maybe they're not opposites. They're the same. They're like magnets. So if you have the magnets in opposite directions, they push each other away. And if you flip it over, and then they're attracted to each other. So you've got positive and negative ions with the soil and the water that kind of repel each other. And if you hadn't noticed, when you like put brand new potting soil in a pot and you put your plants and stuff in there, and you like put water in there, it won't hydrate. It kind of puddles on the surface.
Sort of sits on top.
It sits on top, and it takes a while for the soil to start to become wet. And then once the soil gets wet, then it attracts the water in really well.
And if you're impatient like me, you pour more, and then it all washes out
over.
on the brick.
Yeah, exactly. So what the Easy Wet and the Aqueduct do is they change the ionic structure of the soil so that it is now attractive to the water instead of repelling the water.
That's fascinating.
And so you've got ions that are attracting each other. And so what it does is when you apply Aqueduct to your soil, it binds to your soil, and the Easy Wet does the same thing. And the actual scientific name for these is polyols. So they're polyols, and the polyols bind to the soil, and then they are super attractive to the water. And so when you apply water to that soil that's been treated with it, it just sucks it right down into the soil.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and when you apply the water to the soil after the Easy Wet, you have to make that noise when you apply the water too. You have to do the as it happens, because that makes it more fun to watch it just absorb it in. But I've done experiments in classes, and we'll just take potting soil, seed starting mix right out of the bag. We'll put it into some peat pots, where the peat pots are made out of peat moss, and so they'll absorb the moisture as well too. And then I will pour like a half a cup of water into a 4-inch peat pot, and almost instantly the water just like drains out the bottom, and it kind of hydrates a little bit of the soil, but half the soil's wet and half the soil's dry. And then I'll do the same cup or the same style cup with soil in it, and I'll put Easy Wet into the water, and then pour that half a cup in there, and a couple drops come out the bottom, and it just absorbs and it holds it. And then all of a sudden the pot is hydrating up as well too. So you see the water not just run out the bottom, but it will hold it right there in the same volume of soil, in the same type of container. It will hold almost 100% of that half a cup of water, where the other one lost half of the water out the bottom. Yeah, so
that's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. It's really cool stuff, and that's what makes our hanging basket recipe work so well, because we incorporate that Easy Wet into your watering every couple of weeks, so that your baskets will hydrate every time you water. But it works in like flower beds, and it works. I use it in my garden. So like I've got a couple of spots where there's a little bit more clay in the garden than the rest is kind of sandy, and I'll use the Easy Wet because it keeps the soil from turning into a brick, and it won't absorb and hold the moisture when it gets really hot. So like last year it was really hot. I planted my raspberries in a spot where the soil kind of dried out really quick, and I had to use the Easy Wet to get the water to penetrate in, because it just had dried up so much it just wouldn't accept it. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, Easy Wet and Aqueduct, just very cool products. Very inexpensive.
And you buy this by the gallon, right?
Comes in quarts and gallons. And you only use like a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons in like 1 to 2 gallons.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it really goes a long way. So
very nice.
Yeah, very inexpensive. So we've got a caller. We're going to come up. We're going to pull up right now. 753-5868, 753-KVNU. If you'd like to join us here on the Garden Guide. And who's up next, Jason?
This is Gordon.
All right, Gordon. Welcome to the Garden Guide.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good to have Jason back on the air with you.
Absolutely. We haven't even talked anything political yet today.
Not yet. I'm trying to work it in.
Oh, there's time for that. Hey, now, Mark, you just talked about Easy Wet and Aqueduct. What about Hydrotain? Where does it fit in there? Do you have a preference on the three?
The Hydrotain is a little bit different because it doesn't just help with absorption. It helps it retain it as well too. So the Hydrotain lasts longer, and it will do essentially the same thing that the Easy Wet and the Aqueduct will do, but it will last 90 days. So you'll get like 3 months out of it, and it helps the soil. It actually does something completely different. Like if there's moisture that's even close to the Hydrotain, it will even pull like humidity out of the air and pull it down into the soil. So it's highly attractive to water, and so you can apply that to your turf. And when you water, it pulls the water down in the soil, but it holds that water much longer than, say, the Easy Wet will. It'll hold it there for extended periods of time so that the plants can pick it up and utilize it. But I've seen studies where the Hydrotain has actually pulled humidity out of the air and pulled it down into the soil, and it pulls it into the root zone where the plants can pick it up and utilize it. So a little bit different. I used the Aqueduct for a long time while it was available. I love that stuff. But the Hydrotain will actually last about twice as long. So if I apply it the 1st of June, it's going to last until Labor Day. It's awesome stuff. So, and I know
that was what we used on our lawn, and we were able to get by for long periods, even when it was so hot and dry without having water.
I knew you were super successful with that last year. So
yeah.
So
okay.
while I got you, Gordon, I've been talking with Kelly Kopp of USU Extension, and she's kind of the water specialist up there, and they do the water checks, and they do free water checks. So they have opportunity if someone wants to get their sprinklers checked for efficiency and just for general problems, they'll send a trained tech to your house. They'll spend an hour to 2 hours with you. They'll go through your sprinklers. They'll help you figure out how much water your sprinklers are actually applying in each zone. If you've got rotary sprinklers or if you've got pop-ups or however, they'll help you figure that out. And they'll help you put together a plan of how much to water with each watering so that you're most effective with your watering and how frequently you need to water. And they'll just help assess your sprinkling system and make you as efficient as possible and help you adjust your watering schedule accordingly. And they'll do that for free. I've got little coupons at the store if anyone is interested in that. If you're even slightly interested in that, it's free. The extension will come and do it for you to help you save water and be more effective with your yard. Come in and I'll give you one of those, and you can call them or scan the little QR code on there and set up an appointment, and they'll just come and do it for you. It's awesome. Have you done that before, Gordon?
No, I haven't.
Is that something you might be interested in?
Yeah. In fact, I'm going to post that on our town Facebook page and just let people know about that.
The amount of people that can participate is limited, but I think they can do somewhere between 200 and 300 here in Cache Valley. That's 2 to 300 people that could be saving 25 or 50% of the amount of water that they're using right now, that they would come and do that for free for you. So it's an amazing service. It's through Slow the Flow, but it's really USU Extension that is doing it, and they're doing it here in Cache Valley, and you can't beat that kind of service to have them come and do that for you for free.
We talked to some people who had done this, who had been through this program last summer. And it wasn't an expensive upgrade that was recommended. It was a very minor sprinkler head adjustment.
Yeah.
And they said it was about a 30% cut in their water use.
Yeah. It can make a big difference for a very minor investment. So they're not going to come out there and say, oh, you're going to have to spend thousands of dollars to do this. It's like they'll come and say, hey, this sprinkler head is different from the rest of your sprinkler heads. You need to just swap this one out. I mean, it's just little small easy fixes, or that shrub's blocking your sprinkler over here. Maybe you should move that or trim it. I mean, they make some really common sense suggestions, and for a free service from someone who's trained to help you figure out. I mean, how many people know how much water their sprinklers put out in 30 minutes?
No one.
I mean, virtually nobody does.
No one.
Yeah, and it's like nobody does. And so if you can figure that out, and they're recommending you put an inch of water on your turf once a week for the hot, dry part of the summer, and you go, well, how long is that? And it's like, I don't know. It's like they will help you figure that out so you know exactly how much time to do. And how it will penetrate into the soil. So they'll test your soil, they'll test your sprinklers, they'll do a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, it's awesome. So
that's big time.
But I've got that information at the store. If anyone who's listening is interested in having that service from the USU Extension, come find me at the store. I will get you the right information so you can sign up and participate in that program. So it'll be awesome. So your question, Gordon. Sorry.
Okay, well, you already kind of answered the Burr Buttercup question.
Yes.
That's a continuing thing. I'll get my kills all extended on that. But I have a section of my lawn by my driveway in the front where when we did soil sterilant and, the wind blew a little bit and it got over and kind of killed my grass. And,
Yes.
of course, the spurge and the purslane have come back, in force.
Right.
And I overseeded last summer, but it's still just kind of spotty. Do I try to kill I guess it's spurge. Do I kill that first before I overseed, or do I overseed and then just use, the something specific for that, the weed-free zone? What order do you do when you need to get it out of your lawn but you need to overseed?
Great question. Number one, don't use a pre-emergent on your lawn.
Yeah. Definitely not. Yeah.
I've had so many people come in and they're like, I want to overseed. I heard you talking about it. And it's like, okay, which fertilizer did you put on first? I did the crabgrass preventer. It's like, all right, come see me come see me in July. Yeah, come see me in July and we'll be like in business. But okay, so don't use a pre-emergent. Use weed-free zone or Trimec or something first, and let's get rid of the weeds first. Because if you get new grass coming up and the new grass comes up, you've got to wait till you've mowed it a couple times before you can use a herbicide on it and without damaging it. And so let's kill the weeds first. Get the weeds out of there. It will leave some nice new empty spots for your seed to take, and then we'll seed it and fertilize. Get that seed going, fertilize, a little humic, and get that going. And then once you have mowed it multiple times, twice or 3 times, all not in the same day, that's what I usually tell people, then you can spray for weeds again if you need to. Okay.
All right. That sounds like a plan.
Cool. Gordon, I got one other treat for you. One of my good friends, Jim Siemens, grows giant pumpkins. And he's part of the Giant Pumpkin Growers Association of Utah, and we're trying to get a way off going here in Cache Valley, hopefully on Center Street. So we are shooting for September 23rd to do our Giant Pumpkin way off, and we're going to try and attract people from all over southern Idaho and Utah and Wyoming and hopefully Nevada, maybe even California. If we can get people to come and weigh their pumpkins here. So last year, I think they had one that was over 2,000 pounds, but it wasn't as big as it was the year before. The year before they were like huge. Jim has some extra plants, and he gave them to me. And these are like offspring from I think it's a 1,600 pound pumpkin, 1,800 pound pumpkin, and he started them, and they're in like 2-gallon pots. Would you like one?
Yes, and I may not grow, but my neighbor that has more space than me, they love to do that, and Jim, they would just treat that like their baby.
Yeah, Jim said that you need at least 400 square feet to grow just that one pumpkin. So you need some.
I'm limited now, but I know someone that has
some extra space. Yeah, that
would be great.
Yeah, if there's someone who is super interested in growing giant pumpkins. I mean, not just for fun. We're just going to throw it out there and see what happens. But I mean, is serious about, growing a pumpkin as big as they possibly can and really want to invest some time and effort into it. Come find me. I've got a couple extra plants that I might be able to share with people. But I thought you might be interested, Gordon, and you've been great to help us out on a bunch of different things. So here's a special treat for you. So
that would be fun. Now, the one thing, and I don't remember where they do this, that they do the giant pumpkins and then they cut them open and float down the river.
Yes,
I can't remember where we
that's in Draper.
Yeah,
it's in Draper. Yeah, it's the pumpkin armada, I think they call it, or something. Okay. Yeah, and they use them as canoes until they sink to the bottom.
Gordon, if you float a river in a pumpkin, you've got to promise this video.
Yeah, for sure. I'm pretty sure it's in Draper. Yeah, pretty sure it's
a little safer.
Yeah, pretty sure it's in Draper, but we're thinking a pumpkin festival the end of September would be a blast with a giant pumpkin way off and just some really fun things. So we're working on it. We're going to try and do something fun we'll see what happens. So
very fun.
All right,
sounds good.
Cool.
All right, I better let you go so somebody else can call in. So
awesome.
Thank you for the information.
You are so welcome. Thanks for calling this morning, Gordon.
Okay.
All right, we'll see you. All right, we do have a few minutes left. We got 5 minutes. We could sneak another caller in, 753-5868, 753-KVNU, or 1-800-369-5868. So we kind of hit a lot of the stuff I had on my list of things to talk about today. The only thing that we haven't covered is grass killer. So I've had a lot of people in lately that have had grass in their raspberries or grass in their strawberries or grass in their asparagus or their daylilies or their iris, and they just want to get rid of the grass and not kill the plants. In fact, I had a gentleman in yesterday, and he had grass that had encroached from his turf into his flower beds, and he was really struggling to get rid of it. And he had used the over-the-top, but it didn't work very well for him. Oh. And so I asked him, did you use a surfactant? Yes, I did. Did you spray more than once? No, I only sprayed once. And so there's a process you've got to do to really be effective with the grass killer. And it does say most of these things on the label, but the label's so big, most people don't read it all the way through. So if you're really trying to kill grass without killing your desirable plants, and you want to keep your roses, you want to keep your bulbs like daffodils look just like grass, but this will not hurt the daffodils. It won't hurt flowers. It won't hurt vegetables. It just kills grass. So you've got the high yield grass killer, or you've got the over the top from Fertilome. We recommend you use a spreader sticker, herbicide enhancer with it, and so High Yield's come out with a new one, and it's called Herbicide Enhancer, and it's got a little bit of nitrogen in with it, as well as the same ingredients as the spreader sticker, and it works really, really, really well with the grass killer. So just that little bit of nitrogen is enticing to the grass, and so it just wants to absorb that in, so it wants to suck that in, and it brings the grass killer along with it. But what we recommend is you mix those two together. So you mix the Herbicide Enhancer with the over-the-top, spray once a week for 2 to 3 weeks. So it's not a spray and it's dead the next day like with Weed Free Zone or the Decimate. You can spray those and you can watch this stuff die in like hours. The grass killer takes longer, and you got to be patient with it. So patience and persistence is what I usually tell people. Be patient and let it do its job. Be persistent, because you got to spray once a week for 2 to 3 weeks. So spray, and right now it's like prime time. Grass is green. It's growing aggressively. It's small. It's like the weather's warming up just a little bit, but it's not temperature dependent. It does fine if you've got 50-degree daytime temperatures or 70-degree daytime temperatures. The grass needs to be young and growing aggressively. So right now is the time to hit it. Spray, wait a week. Spray again, wait a week. If it's not dying by the end of that second week, hit it one more time. It'll be dead a week after that. So you just gotta stick with it and be patient. But I mix up a new batch every time I do it. So if I'm spraying today, I'm going to mix up a new batch. I'm going to mix up exactly what I think I'm going to use, and I'm going to use it all. And then next week when I go to do it again next Saturday, mix a new batch up. Don't mix up a big batch and then use it, every week for a couple of weeks. Make sure it's a fresh batch every time, because it'll lose a little bit of efficacy if you leave it sitting around for too long. Oh. Yeah, and make sure you mix the herbicide enhancer in with it, and you will see amazing results. It'll work really well. Have you used it before, Jason?
I haven't, but I have some that's been sitting a while, so maybe might scrap that.
If it's been mixed up, it just doesn't. It's not really stable, so it destabilizes, and then it doesn't work as well. But if you've got the concentrate, it's been sitting on your shelf for a couple of years, it should work just fine. It's once you mix it in with water and you've diluted it down, it's gonna destabilize a little bit faster.
Okay,
all right,
that makes sense.
But the concentrate is going to be fine for multiple years, so you should be good.
That's. I have a question for you that I've had many people ask me what my thought were on it. A long winter like this, so much snow on the ground for so many months, are there steps that we should take just in general to kind of help everything recover a little faster from that?
That's a great question. The heat. If you hadn't noticed, it's like all of a sudden it got really warm this week, and like the cherry blossoms just started blooming like crazy on Center Street. And so just get the soil to warm up, So black plastic over your garden for a week or two just to generate some heat, or weed barrier, just to warm the soil up. So since the snow was on the ground for so long, it took forever for the soil to warm up. And here it is, the 6th of May, and we don't even have like most of the most of the fruit trees aren't even blooming yet. So I've got apricots blooming at my house, but my peaches and my apples and my cherries are starting to bloom right now too. But it's like they are just not blooming, and it's because the soil's so cold. So if you can do something to warm the soil up, then things are going to move along a little bit quicker. Normally, we're trying to cool the soil down because it's so hot. Yeah. We're trying to put mulches and stuff in there to cool the soil down. Well, case in point, when I tilled my garden this week, I had a spot where just the leaves were on there much heavier, and a spot where we didn't get any leaves at all. And I was able to till the spot where we didn't have the leaves, and it was like perfect. Like the soil texture and the moisture was just like perfect. And I got into the area where the leaves were, and it was wet. It was like muddy in there. Yeah, so it was kind of a mess. So that's how it works. But so that's a mulch will do the same thing. It'll help the soil retain the moisture longer. It'll keep the soil cooler longer. And so a 2-inch mulch of bark around your roses, or even 3 inches, is going to make it so you don't have to water as much. Your soil's not going to dry out so quickly. It's going to keep the soil cooler in the summer when it's really hot, when we want it to cool down. But right now, we want to warm the soil up. So if I'm going to plant my tomatoes in 2 weeks, I'm going to put black plastic or weed barrier out there where I'm going to put my tomatoes and squashes and melons and cucumbers, and just let it sit out there for a couple weeks and generate some heat. You warm that soil up, and your plants are going to take off like crazy, and you're going to be picking tomatoes in July just like you normally would.
Very nice.
Yeah, so warm soil, we're going to catch up really fast.
Very nice.
Yeah, time to get out there and get all your early crops done. Carrots, you can still do all the early stuff. So lettuce, spinach, radishes, peas. But we're into carrots, potatoes, and chard. Get out there and get some planting done, and enjoy your weekend. Thanks for listening to the Gardening Guide.